Good afternoon. June the 14th today, it's a Wednesday. It's about 2 weeks since I did a post. If you see behind me, we've got absolute beautiful blue skies. The weather is around about 22-23 degrees outside. The tunnels are a little bit warm. One tunnel is actually sat at 120 degrees Fahrenheit, that is. These tunnels down here where I have the leaks nut in, with all the shading I have up there, sat around about the 90 degrees. Which is still a bit hot, but there's nothing much more I can do. I have had a few visitors and they said, erect a load of fans, which is what I would probably need to do, but they need to be fairly big fans because they're all big tunnels. I'll walk you around and show you all the growth that we've had. The bees have arrived. They're very busy. At the moment, they're not actually coming into the tunnels, but I haven't any flowers in the tunnels at present. I normally have loads of foxgloves and other types of plants to attract them in. At the moment, they're just coming out and flying. They're getting plenty of pollen elsewhere. I'll turn the camera around and we'll take a little look. Here's the beehive. You will hear them there. They're very active. They're coming in with lots of pollen on their hind legs, taking it in and out. Very busy at the moment. Right, this is the bottom tunnel where the tomatoes on. They've come away great. They haven't grown much more in height. You'll see from, well, it's a fortnight since I did a video, but the fruit's appearing now. The fruit's coming on. This is Damaris, coming all the way along nicely. Bottom trusses are obviously heavier with fruit. A few peppers. Peppers are coming on nicely. We have a few fairly large green peppers on. A few jalapenos here just starting to form nicely. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, there we are. But the fruit's starting to come on nicely. I haven't fed the tomatoes. That is with a liquid feed. I water on a daily basis. But I've just been around the last day or two and I have applied some Terra Plus. The high potash one, which is basically 12% potash. It's not a real booster, but it does just give them a little. Keep a check as you come through. I do it every day, but as you see, there's a one that I've missed this morning. Little side shoots. Just remove them like that. Keep them clean. Keep them tied in. Make sure they're tied in. There's another one I've missed. They could have grown today, actually. I mean, it's amazing how quickly they are growing. So they're all doing fairly well. I'm quite happy. We'll see what they're like. Right, I think this is the... Right, we end the Damaris here and we start on Maisie here. And as you can see, quite a few fruit appearing on the Maisie as well. I have got some red ones up in the top polytunnel. I think there's about 3 red just appeared in the last day or two. Watch out for this. There's an actual new plant growing on the end of a truss. I'll have to cut that off. I'll bring a pair of scissors to cut that off and remove it. That's just going to take away from the plant and the fruit. And another side shoot will remove. But as we can see, they're growing quite well. These were watered heavily this morning and they're drying out again already. So I think I may need to give another drop water tonight just to keep them ticking over nicely. Growing quite nicely. These are the Apero. Again, they're growing well. Not so many trusses on these. 3 trusses at the present. Growing nicely. It's a small fruited variety, like a plum. It's good for the show bench, and it's lovely to eat. Cucumber plants starting to grow up the trellis there. They're doing okay. This is the only foxgloves that I have in here this year. I should have put a few more in. I'll have to possibly look at getting a few perennials into here to see if we can attract the bees in. There's still not a lot of onion heads open, but the leek heads are starting to pop up nicely now, as we can see here. It's a high one, and leek heads appearing here, here, and the virus-free heads are coming through nice. This is the Cumbrian virus-free. Plants are looking good. I've got them stripped fairly well down. I'll keep removing foliage. This is the DN2. So just keep an eye on them as they're coming. There's one come blind day. This sometimes happens. It happened to me more last year. This is the only one that's done it this year. I have seen on Facebook 1 or 2 other people have got very similar problems. But that's the leek heads coming through nicely. One really big one here, which it's important for me. This one, it's a very good one. That's GSN 2. We'll have a look through at the onion stock. And as we can see, flower heads starting to open. We take a good close look. The flowers are just starting to open. Not be long and the bees will come through onto these. That's not open as yet. Just starting. There's the one full open. I haven't seen any bees or hoverflies in here at the present moment. So I hope they do find their way in the next few days. I've put a few hanging baskets in just to try and, but even the hanging baskets aren't flowering fully yet. So as I say, the bees have to find their way in. But there's lots of heads. Some of them are way up above the shading. And the shading's, well, the heads are about 5 foot tall, possibly a little bit more. So they're all doing quite well. I'm happy with those. Again, I have given the feed with Terra Plus. Blanche leeks. I've paid a couple down here. We'll take a look at there. This one is the Princess C. These are leeks that I was actually growing for intermediates. I put a 12-inch collar on, but I can see they're actually jumping up above the 12-inch collar. So I think I may have to, they're a little bit heavy to start trying to pull even further. But if I can get another 2 inches on them, they will hit the Blanche leek class. I usually like them at least 16 inches, but fairly decent leeks. I'll see what they end up like. I've got Princess C in here, looking fairly good with 18-inch collars on. Not as heavy as that. Just looking along the row, Princess C, Princess C. That was a replacement and it's struggling to get hold. Princess C, Princess C. That's got a 15-inch collar on it. All the others in the next tranche have got 18-inch. This was a 15-inch collar I had on the RMG. And again, it's looking very nice. I've just removed that collar just to let you see. As we go further along, I move up on 18-inch collars. And again, the plants are looking very healthy and they're looking good at the moment. So keep our fingers crossed. Shading up above, just to try and keep that sun from scorching them. It's still a little bit hot. I prefer it not to be so hot, but we can't help that. Right, moving into the main pot leek tunnel. These are King Charles. Again, they're not massive. These are probably 8.5 inches at the moment. At this end, obviously as we get further along, they get smaller because I couldn't get them all in. Where these were long initially, they are settling themselves down. They've started to tuck down nicely. And I'm hoping to get some of these on the bench. I hope that they don't go too long. So they're quite good. The 5 that I had for orders which didn't get collected, so I've just shoved them in the garden. They were the last 5 leeks that I had. They're looking okay. And then from here onwards, these are the ones that were grown completely in the cold. Never had any heating at all. They were never up in the glass house. Excuse me. These were down in the polytunnel, and they did get frosted on three occasions, 8 or 9 days at a time. And I did think that these would definitely run to seed, but I was short of leeks at planting time because I spoilt mine in the greenhouse. So I did plant these, and we will learn something from it. They're actually looking very nice. Not massive at the moment, 7.5 inches, but I'm quite happy with those. Nothing's getting fed, and if you remember, 3 trenches I added no fertiliser whatsoever. The only place I did put fertiliser on was the very last bed that we come to, which I was growing a few heavyweights. Here we have Prince William. Again, it's another new leek, and they're looking fairly decent. Again, these are about 8 to 8.5 inches. Obviously, this is first year grass from a seedling. They do need to be sorted. Need to be selected, but as we go along we can see some very promising leeks. There's a beauty. And again, the first half we're out of the greenhouse. I've actually removed the one from here. I've just put some carrot seed in. That one was bent right over. And I think it's from here that we drop onto the same as next door. These have been grown completely cold, no heating at all. They have been frosted, and they're growing very nicely as well. Again, around about the 7.5 inch mark. I'm quite happy with those. There's some promising looking leeks in there. Hopefully we'll get a few of these on the bench. Notice the baskets are thinning out now. Starting to get down. Moving in the next tunnel. This is one that I bred 3 years ago. This is GSN2. They're looking very long at the moment. Whether I get any of these on the bench or not, I don't know. They're not big. These will be 6.5, maybe 7 inches. If you remember, the head burned off, and I was fortunate to get 18 tiny pips around about Christmas time, set them away. These were planted from 2-litre pots, so I'm not expecting anything large out of them, but it is an absolute superb quality leek. There's a couple of bigger ones at this end. It was a seedling from the GSN, which in turn was a giant crossed Cumbrian, and it does resemble a Cumbrian. If we move from there onto that one, this is a Cumbrian. This is Jimmy Dunnett's Cumbrian, and they're looking quite nice if we look along the row. I didn't plant lots of these. I think I've put 8 Cumbrian, but they're looking quite nice. You can maybe just do with a tidy up. Again, no fertilizer on the 3 beds that we've just looked at. But if you remember, the last 2 beds didn't have any black and white on. This has. We'll just see if there's any difference. Up to now, they've had nothing at all added. I possibly will add some Terra Plus, but I would use the higher nitrogen, which is only 8% nitrogen. Now, this bed did get fertilizer added, and if you remember, these are, I've put in really for heavyweights. This is Kevin Young's. The very first one is producing some basal suckers. You can just see them popping up there. They can be removed quite easily. They're on the outside of the plant. If anything came up on the inner flags, the plant would be useless to me. I'll keep an eye on those. We don't want that happening, but obviously sometimes it's unavoidable. Switching off there, we move on to DN1. Again, these were put in for heavyweight, and I've dug 2 of these out. Yeah, 2 of these I've dug out. But they are looking long. I knew it would. Tom Powell exhibited these as intermediates last year, and he won, and it was very heavy. So I'm hoping that these will make heavyweights. That one's looking long. Maybe it would make a good intermediate if I was tending to collar it up. We'll take a look later. Right, moving on to the virus free. I'm very pleased with these. As I said the last time, it's taken a long time to get it reselected and sorted, but they are looking very nice now. I'm happy with these. These are above 8 inches. That one's not, that's a smaller one. But the bulk of them are above 8 inches. They were all stretched into the greenhouse because I had so many leeks rammed in. It could work to my advantage because they don't look as if they're lifting very much. They're nice and tucked in. Very straight, beautiful long foliage. You can see right down to the floor. They're looking very nice. They're clean, nice and straight, round, very healthy. Looking forward to see what these end up making. Some nice looking leeks in here. This is the virus-free Cumbrian. The Cumbrian usually splits a few flags in around about the 3rd week in June, so I am expecting some of these splitting. That's when you more or less gain your length, but hopefully I'm not going to gain any length. We'll just see where they end up. But they're looking quite nice. Got all the baskets apart from 3 away from here. I'll show you the onions. We've had a few of the pips gone to seed. These are the late set ones. These were set in March. Some of them are not going to make the grade, but small onions like that, I would lift that, and I'd probably dress that off for the under 8 ounce class. There's no reason why not. It hasn't got the top on it. It's not going to make a big onion, but it's a lovely shaped onion. If I can get a set out of those, I will do. Then we start moving along. They start getting a little bit bigger. They've got bigger foliage on. Hopefully these will make certainly the 1.5 kilogram class, but I'm looking for larger than that. They should make some bigger ones than that. a nice shaped onion. It's a good quality onion. It originates from Billy Lamb. I've had this onion for years now. I got it from McCook, who in turn got it from Billy Lamb. We move along. We've seen some bigger onions here. These onions are probably 16 inches at the moment. There's a lot of lads got much bigger onions than this, but they're growing for giants. These are all my quality. But if we see there's 2 or 3 here, little seed pipes on. That renders this useless for sure. It's a shame because they were shaping up to be nice onions. But again, they have gone to seed. So there's maybe about 8 gone to seed. Just some stock plants on this side. Still a few baskets. I had some Sophinia got really straggly and I couldn't use them, so we potted 5 to a pot, cut them right back, and they're coming absolutely fabulous. They're going to make super plants. They'll be beautiful. Obviously they're a little bit later. We'll see those on the next video. Right, if you remember last year I got burnt with the heat inside, and I decided to do something about it. Apart from putting all the shading up, which we see all the way through, every trench has shading on this year. I also built an outside framework, a big bench. It's almost 40 foot long, and these are 35 litre buckets. And I put 2 abreast on the bench. The end 8, they are William. These ones I've collared for intermediates because they were stretched in the greenhouse. These are King Charles, and they're looking very nice as an intermediate. I think they're going to make a good intermediate if I can retain the length. As a seedling, it was a Blanche leek seedling, and it did drop right back down to 6 inches, but it was quite a hefty leek, so they could make good leeks. These are the blue. That's Peter Kerry's blue. These are very late set King Charles. I got another flush off ahead. These were set around about Christmas time. They're not big, but if the other ones go too big, I have a backup, or I've got some good stock. 4 virus free I put in, and again they're looking very nice. I hope you can see, and my shadow's not spoiling it. A couple of William and a couple of Cumbrian. So that's the outside bed. As we can see, I've covered it with a little bit in the Enviromesh just to keep the insects off. Having said that, the sides are open, but if we've any leaf miner flying above, hopefully they'll not attempt to get down because of the Enviromesh. I have got enough left to cover the sides in if I want to. That's it for today, thanks. I'll follow it through again in a week or 2 just to see the progress. I hope everyone's stock's growing well. This hot weather will sort a few lads out. The turkey's giving me a shout there. It will sort a few out. Anybody with leeks that are too big at the moment, I hope that they keep on going for you. Through experience, I don't really want them anything above 10 inches at the minute, but I know a lot of lads have got some very good leeks out there, and I wish them all the best. Very good, thank you now, bye bye.